So Jessica, with that, I want to say thank you again for putting this together and for all that you're doing, and welcome to all of you. Jessica?
Thank you, Pat. Welcome, everybody. Thank you again for coming. Just want to go over again the way we'll handle questions for the presentation is if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and then I'll ask them to Shawn at the end. If you don't see the chat window, just hover over your screen, a bar will pop up. There'll be a chat button on there. Click that, and the chat box will come up. Any questions you have, type them in there. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Shawn now. Shawn Jeffcoat is a division leader at Heartland Payment Systems. And of course, my screen just went away. There we go. Shawn Jeffcoat is division leader at Heartland Payment Systems, one of the nation's largest payments processors and a leading provider of merchant business solutions. In his role, Shawn empowers others in becoming the very best version of themselves as they build wealth while maintaining a work-life balance. With the combination of direct, indirect training and innovative sales tools to make sure they are on the right path to success, he develops sales professionals and leaders, helping them reach their personal, professional, and financial goals. Shawn serves his team with an understanding of the importance of consultative selling that recognizes and precisely analyzes businesses creating additional value of streamlining their credit, debit, prepaid card processing, payroll, mobile, e-commerce, and lending needs. Shawn, thanks so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I want to say, thank you not only to Jessica, but also to Pat and also Rob for allowing me to come speak to everyone here for just a bit this afternoon. Specifically with Heartland, I work in our online payments team. So everything that we do is geared toward a card not present solution, which has become so important in this time that we're in. And I actually have a little bit of a presentation that I would like to show you guys, and I'm going to turn that on now and start presenting that, and I'll turn off the video so that we can all get through this. But oh, what in the world? Okay, so did we have the right screen there? There was a problem with my share, I'm afraid.
It popped up and then it popped back down.
There we go. Okay. So
there we go. You're up now.
We have that back on.
Yes.
So I want to, these are unprecedented times that we're in, and I know that it has become a cliched statement, but it's become more and more important that people figure out easier ways for their customers to be able to do business with them. And sometimes that can be an extremely difficult task to do. And this slide was put together by some people and has been used quite a bit, but it's doing less but accomplishing more. That was our goal when we were talking about things like this only a few months ago. But now we're talking about, accomplishing things in a way that may not be possible otherwise, and accomplishing things as we move through time in the future in a way that's going to be more convenient and also is going to allow people to be more comfortable with the way that they do business. So I want to talk to you about, how we move business online to maybe create new channels for revenue. And I want to just tell a little story really quickly. In the last 8 weeks, our teams of online payment specialists at Heartland have really been able to touch businesses and make changes in business people's lives and help them maintain their livelihood like we never have before. And I want to tell you a little bit about a restaurant that my family and I frequent, and I'm sure that many of you will be able to think of a restaurant like this in your mind. It's the Mexican restaurant that, is the quick and the inexpensive. My family, we probably go there at least twice a week. They know us by name. They know us by order because it's always the same thing. We know them by name. They're almost like an extension of the family. And when all of this happened, we just happened to be in there when it was, starting to feel like they may have to close down and, put about 50 people out of work. And they're not a customer of Heartland. I have never approached them about being a customer of Heartland. I know the system that they use. I'm familiar with it. It is a competitor of ours, and they were worried. And I pulled Rodrigo aside and just said, hey, you know, we have never talked business here, but I want to tell you this. I know that with what you're doing, you can make a couple of very easy changes, and you can offer your customers online ordering so that you can still stay in business. And I'm not saying I'm taking any credit for that, but my Los Vaqueros, LV as we call it in my household, was able to keep their doors open. They moved most of their people to part-time, but they did not have to completely lay anyone off. And certainly they're not doing as much business as they were before, but in this time that we're in, they were able to keep their doors open and keep their employees on board and save their restaurant because they were able to move this. And, you know, I feel really good that I was able to help them. Even though they're not a Heartland customer, they're doing all of this with another payment processor. And I kind of share that last piece of the story about they're not a Heartland customer intentionally. You're going to see some things where you're going to see Heartland on things, but I don't want you to think that this is a sales pitch asking you to come be a part of, you know, be a Heartland customer or anything like that. There are multiple companies out there that offer very similar top style solutions, but you're just going to see screenshots and things like that of Heartland business, of Heartland software, Heartland solutions. But that is not our purpose, you know, to push any of that on you today. It's just what we know, and what we know is out there and available in the market today. So when I am speaking to business owners about providing them with Heartland solutions, I tend to ask them this question. And what are you doing to allow your customers to buy at their convenience? And it may not be buy. It may be, what are you doing to allow your clients to pay at their convenience, or allow your patients to pay at their convenience? But most of you know that we live in a convenience-based society today. There's no denying that. And it's becoming more and more important for you to be able to do business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but do it in a manner that is manageable. And it goes back to the beginning when we mentioned do less, but accomplish more. And I have asked this question to business owners before over the phone, and you can literally hear the deer in the headlights look sometimes when I ask this question. I know that doesn't seem possible, but it's sort of an afterthought of how do we do this to allow it to be at their convenience? Because when it comes to paying our utility bills, or paying a medical bill, or making those purchases that we do online, convenience is extremely important. You know, so maybe if you just kind of take a minute and just think to yourself, you know, what am I doing to allow my customers, whether it is a diner at a restaurant, whether or a professional service and they're paying their monthly fees or their annual fees, or you know, you're a manufacturer and possibly, you know, we're speeding up your revenue cycle. Your customers can get their goods shipped faster because you're getting paid faster. We have to focus as business owners on their convenience. And I actually practiced public accounting for 16 years. Heartland is my second career. So, you know, there are many times where I wish 15 years ago I had a solution that would have allowed my customers to pay from their couch at 9:30 in the evening after the kids were in bed and they were, you know, tidying things up at the end of the day. I know that there would have been a significant amount of, you know, revenue that would have come in more quickly because of that. And it is a growing opportunity. This is a really large number. It is estimated that there are 25 billion with a B, invoices that are sent annually, whether that is a utility bill or that is, from a manufacturer to one of their retailers. That could be from professional services, from, let's think about somebody who may be doing your lawn or working on your pool. 25 billion invoices. So I just did a little math really quickly. And I think that came out to be on average 700 per person in the US. I mean, I may have missed a zero on that, but it was a really large amount that's spent on that. And if we think about how many of those, 75% are being sent by paper means, the workload that's involved in that can be just absolutely tremendous. So this same research, they said, okay, how many people that are out, why am I going backwards? How many people that are out there would like to receive their bills electronically, whether it's utilities or those professional services? And we discovered that, people would like to have that. Our primary means of communication today, for the most part, is a little 14-ounce device that we hold in our hand. It seems endlessly. But if we're able to deliver, a way to pay in that handheld smartphone that all of our customers have, we're going to, make it so much easier for them to pay us. And as a business owner or the manager of a business, the two most important things that you have from that standpoint are your time and your money. And if we can get you that money more quickly, we're saving both of those. So then again, it goes back to our, our do less and our accomplish more. So as we continue to move forward, where, more and more of the bill paying becomes automated or put into a digital system, 42% are reporting that they have paid a bill via their smartphone. If I had to write a check for my utility bills, I wouldn't have the first clue how to do that. But I kind of want to start just a little bit by showing you, some invoicing systems. Whether you're a small business who maybe doesn't have any sort of electronic system, you're generating, these on the spot and you're handing them to a customer, or you're gathering the information and you're doing it at the office, or somebody at the office is doing that. We actually have with Heartland, and again, this is ours, there are dozens of them out there, an invoicing platform that allows you to manage that flow and can act as a fantastic database where you're going to maintain client information and product information and be able to generate an invoice on the spot. So I don't know if we have anybody on here who may work in lawn services or in pool services like that, but let's put ourselves in their shoes and think about what it would be like to be able to go to a customer's location, work that we've been called there to do. It's starting to warm up. Maybe the air conditioner isn't working quite right and that needs to be recharged. Hand them, or instead of, scribbling something on paper and taking it back to the office, we could utilize our smartphone as that repair person, create an invoice that emails to that customer instantly, or even text messages to them that they can click, type in a few pieces of information on their smartphone or on their PC later that day and make a payment. That's going to, facilitate the ability for us to, get paid in a much quicker environment. And that one of those graphics very specifically mentioned getting paid on a smartphone. So I actually wanted to show you what our payment flow can look like on a smartphone. And this isn't just us. So in the middle, let's say from this screen, they're using a PC or a tablet. Everything they see is going to be optimized for that view. This is very common. They can see how to make a quick payment on their screen. And on the left and on the right, you can see that these are actually screenshots that were taken from a smartphone. Everything that the customer sees is optimized for that. So some of the fears that we have with businesses sometimes is they just are worried that it's not going to be a pleasant experience, similar to, you know, taking a phone call, a payment over the phone, or making a payment over the phone. You know, that can sometimes be an uncomfortable experience. When we step into a digital solution like that, we're able to present them in a simplified manner. And, you know, some customers, they may still need this invoice mailed to them in a paper copy, and that is something that can be done. But for the convenience factor, you know, it is a major step forward to be able to have a resource similar to this. And I want to share just a little bit about, I mentioned a pool company. So I have a customer that is a pool company. They're located in Arizona. So they've been, you know, doing pool work throughout the time that COVID-19 had happened. And David's mother actually contracted COVID-19. This is the business owner, and had to go into the hospital. And it put an extraordinary amount of fear in him for, you know, having cut contact with his customers, and, you know, being there face to face and not being able to be socially distanced. But he also needed to be able to serve his customers on that regular basis. And he came to us and we talked to him about some of the things that were available, and we settled on this invoicing system because it was, you know, something that he was able to bill for repairs, and they could do it, you know, and he could actually speak to them through a doorway or something, you know, whatever the case needed to be to remain socially distanced. And because he was able to offer, you know, this remote service and eliminate some of the social contact, he actually had a few of his customers reach out to their neighbors who they knew used other pool services, and maybe they had talked about this. And he went from 126 customers about 6 weeks ago to 155 regular customers because he adopted this solution. So, you know, when we talk about that question that I asked, what are you doing to allow your customers to pay at their convenience? Sometimes, you know, we have to change convenience to another word. And he actually, you know, grew his business about 25% because he had adopted a method out of necessity, but it actually turned into a fantastic growth opportunity. And I know many of the people that I'm talking to here today, they have an invoicing system. There's some sort of ERP system that you have in the background that you're already using to create an invoice, and you're mailing those out. You may even be emailing them, but there might not be a convenient way to click and pay or something like we see here that I've demonstrated with our invoicing system. There are also solutions out there for that. And the general term for that category is a hosted payment page. And that would be a portal. It's a page that is hosted by someone else for security. It's hosted on your credit card processor servers that allows a customer to go 24/7 to a website that they can receive a link to via email. They can simply type it in from something they see on the invoice that you send to them. You can link a payment page to your website, and they can go there and then click on a button that says pay here, or, you know, click to pay, make payment, anything like that. You can even advertise it in, you know, social media that you're now accepting payments online. My apologies, it's very touchy going backwards here. But if you already have something like that, most hosted payment pages, and, you know, ours, like I'm saying, I'm speaking specifically about ours, but in general, they all have customizable designs, and they're going to give email notifications, not only to you as the business owner or someone in your, when a payment is made, but allowing your customers to get an electronic receipt immediately upon making that payment is a fantastic feature that you're able to put into someone's hands. Typically, they come with a dashboard where you can see sort of a 30,000-foot view of your business. Most of those have integrations that are going to allow you to simply and easily get your payments into your accounting software, whether that's a QuickBooks or something else. They're going to allow you to be able to take one-time payments. So, maybe we're talking to a CPA who has, a couple of hundred clients who, they pay once a year when they get their tax return done. Think how simple it would be to email them and say, click here to pay your $895 balance. Once you do that, I'll release your forms for electronic filing, and we can get your tax return process rather than have them have to come into the office, make a payment like that. Many times these solutions are going to have ACH payments, and I realize I should have deleted this unlimited support. That's a Heartland thing. It varies with developers and things like that, but I realize I should have probably removed that. But there are a variety of ways to take payments and make these things available to your customers in an easy way. So typically, when your customer goes to your website, there's a nice transition over to that hosted payment page. Some of the older systems, it seemed clunky and it put fear in the customer or the patient, whoever it may be's eyes, because it didn't look necessarily branded or smooth when there were some of those redirects. These modern systems, they don't come off in that way because they can be colored with the same scheme and all of those things. They'll allow for one-time payments, the recurring payments, the ACH. Most of the time, there are time periods. It takes 5 to 7 business days to get these built, and there's usually a couple of days to make edits to those. I would like to brag and tell you that Heartland comes in better than that, but this is not about Heartland, so I'm not going to say that out loud. My apologies. I couldn't help myself. So this is about reducing that distance between our customers, and that's often what it is: those real-time transactions, easy integrations, and customization. I actually wanted to show you what one of these can truly look like. So this is one of our customers' pages. It would, if it was displayed on the screen, the left side would be above the right side. It would be one smooth flow. With this one, we're collecting the customer's information for how they're making the payment. This is business to business solar sales. You can see on this page, you're even able to capture a signature, confirm that they're agreeing to the terms of service. And we have, where they have to enter the CVV code and the expiration date to help alleviate your fears that you're going to have chargeback issues when you step into an online payment solution. Because in the past, this was something that created some angst with people who were wanting to take this step forward. So we don't necessarily want our customers at Heartland or you as a business person to have those fears. So there are several options that can be done. I keep saying my apologies, that can be done no matter what solution you use to enable you to reduce some of those risks. And when you're asking yourself, is an invoicing solution or is a hosted payment solution right for you, some of those questions that you can ask yourself as a business owner, do your customers have the ability to make payments online? That's yes or no. How much time do you spend entering payments manually? And this is one that really hits home with me because I have had a few experiences where I was trying to make a payment over the phone, and it wasn't a pleasant experience, not only for me, but you could tell it was also unpleasant for the person on the other end of the phone. So, those manually entering those payments over the phone, uh, taking them over the phone and entering them manually is something that really hits home with me. And the other thing, are you waiting on receivables because an invoice is going out via postal service, a check is coming back via postal service, and then the 24/7 convenience piece of it is truly special. Are you able to operate 24/7, 365 in that manner? The next sort of platform that I want to talk about, I want to focus on the omni-channel platform here, because as many businesses continue to grow, they're not only selling or taking payments in person, they're also taking payments online and through all of these multiple channels. And we actually have a new platform, and this is common among several other places, called Heartland for Service Professionals. And we've geared this not only toward professional services, but also toward some of the home services businesses, to think about what is it that they truly need to be successful. And we interviewed hundreds of business owners like yourselves and said, what is it that you need? And we found out that, you need the ability to take face-to-face payments. Sometimes you need the ability to run a special promotion to get your business out there. Maybe you're a summer heavy business and you need to generate some income in the spring. What are those things that we can do? And we came up with, they need to be omni-channel and be able to create these things on your own, without having to, pay development costs and do all of those things that can be sometimes hindering to a business owner stepping over to an online payment solution. So we built a platform, and there are others like this out there, that allows, service people to track work orders, to do invoicing, for those jobs that they may be doing, to create custom payment forms. And there's a really great story about custom payment forms. There is a church group that's here in Oklahoma, actually, that they have summer camps that students from all over the country attend, and they're having to make changes on the fly to these because of the situation that we're in with social distancing. And they came over, they're utilizing this system to be able to adopt their condensed model for the summer without having to completely rework their website that was going to cost them $18,000. So this was something that was a really great feature. And, I know many professional services businesses are going to, we're calling it a subscription model here, but a monthly billing, where, you want to charge your customers, maybe it's a bookkeeping customer, and I keep going to that because that's in my past, rather than charge them hourly, you just want to charge them $400 a month, set that up on a recurring basis. But, it may not necessarily be that, but there are a lot of things that we can use to accept those recurring payments that are subscription based. And then we also found that whether it is a bakery putting together a package that they want to sell, cookie decorating for Mother's Day coming up, or, people who do yard decorations specifically, they want to sell a package of yard decorations for Independence Day. And then they also want to do something for Christmas decorations. They need the ability to utilize a simplified system for creating e-commerce sales that they can put out there, that they can utilize in social media, or, whatever medium it is for marketing this. And a lot of businesses will say, well, how can I determine if any of these solutions are for me. So I kind of put together this next slide where it talks about what kind of businesses do we see so many times moving over to a platform similar to this. And if we talk about the home services market, which, you know, if you look around outside 3 weeks ago, these people were really easy. And some of you may have been in that are listening today may have been part of this. You were the only ones that were working. And similar to the pool service in Arizona, they needed to be able to take payments. So, you know, a locksmith, maybe taking a payment from someone else. Think about, you know, the plumber who may have to wait on payments, or a landscaper who may not be able to start scheduling a job because they need to you need to receive half of your payments or something along those lines. So there's an entire list of people that these kind of solutions could be perfect for in the home services business. When we talk about business services, you know, architecture, bookkeeping, real estate, there's so many people who wait on funds that time and the cost of that deferred payment might be weighing down their business. And, you know, it's not something that they've thought about, being able to adopt these channels for accepting payments alternatively. And then I want to tell a story about it's South Care Pharmacy, and it's in North Carolina or South Carolina, and I'm going to have to say excuse me because I don't remember exactly which one it is. One of our field reps had noticed that there was a line around the block of people waiting to step up to a pharmacy or get into a pharmacy to be able to purchase from their car. And the workers there at the pharmacy were running in and out, you know, just wearing themselves out to help take care of these customers. And they said, you know, what in the world can we do to make this simpler for them to serve their customers and make it speedy for their customers to get in and out and make things work? So and this isn't just Heartland. We actually have a mobile payment solution, and nearly every processor does, where you can, with a device that is connected to a smartphone, or even key it in on the smartphone, accept payments on the go. You know, let's think about some sort of a service that may be delivering now that wasn't in the past, that's going to continue to do this as, you know, as time goes on. Mobile payments is a great way to speed that up. And that pharmacy, if I have the numbers correct here, they were actually turning business away because they just couldn't serve them all within the day. And they were able to run, I believe, about 8 to 10 customers per hour before they adopted a mobile payment solution. But when they were able to do all of it without having to go back and forth inside, they were able to step that up to 20 customers per hour, alleviate the line around their locations, and serve more of their customers so that they were able to get their prescriptions by, you know, just moving over to having that payment acceptance right there at the car as they're serving their customer. And it's just those little things like that that are going to become a permanent piece of our businesses moving forward. So I talked a little bit about some different channels for accepting payments. I'd like to shift just a little bit, and I would like to discuss something because I know Jessica had told me that there's some significant manufacturing interests in your area, and some of you may be a part of those. business to business payments and speeding those up are becoming more and more popular and more important as time goes on. And a lot of times, in tight margin industries, it can be a difficult thing to justify for the bottom line. And I'm by no means saying that it isn't important and it shouldn't be considered. But level 3 processing is something that is out there that allows business to business transactions to be made at a much less costly fee, sometimes saving as much as half of the cost of the transactions. And it's a simple step where we accept a few extra pieces of information beyond just a zip code and a sales tax amount or anything like that to be able to qualify these transactions for reduced interchange. So for anybody on here who may do a lot of business to business transactions, this is something that we're going to take care of how the transaction is happening, who is involved, to see if we can reduce those costs that are associated with it so that you can speed up. And there are basically 3 levels. Most of our commercial transactions that you and I do, whether it's at a restaurant or at a common retailer, are level 1 processing. That customer, that merchant, you as the merchant, you don't collect a tremendous amount of information, and you pay that interchange to the credit card companies at a higher level. When we step up to business transactions in level 2, we collect just a little bit more information to make those transactions less risky for that credit card company. And we're going to be able to reduce those fees by as much as a percent of your sales. And for those of you who accept credit cards, I know you understand that, this can be, sometimes it does feel extremely costly. And I just want you to know that there are options out there. And, Rob can speak to you guys more about this, but there are options out there that allow you to reduce some of those fees just by taking another moment at checkout to gather just a tiny bit of information. So we talked a little bit about how you can accept other methods of payment that are going to make it easier for you to do business, that are going to make it more convenient for you to do business. But ultimately, I know we are all, in a world where being customer centric is extremely important. And that's what all of these solutions are primarily geared towards, is being focused on your customer and giving them the best solution that's possible. So I just want to, I don't know if there were any questions that came in through the chat. Were there any of those, Jessica?
Yes. Yep. I have 2 questions and see if some people get more in while I'm asking them. One question is, how difficult is it for a small business who has never done online to kind of make that transition?
That is something that it depends on the robustness of the solution that you're wanting. So I'm going to speak to Heartland here for just a moment. Setting up these systems like I showed you, whether it's a simple hosted payment page or the full-blown invoicing system, we have tried to make it as easy on you as possible. And it can cost $30 or $40 per month in addition to the credit card processing to give you these tools. And one of the things that I train my salespeople to say after they may have demoed one of these products to someone is say, so what do you think this would cost? Because there are people who focus only on providing these platforms that will charge, $1,000 setup fee and a couple $100 a month. That's not where Heartland focuses, and that's not where we go. We're providing these as an auxiliary service to what we truly do, which is process the payments. So, to have a hosted payment page, that's a process that takes, I'm going to say worst case scenario, a week to work with our team at Heartland Integration Services to get it to look and feel the way that you want it, so that it matches your website, it collects the information that you have. And since everything is cloud-based, there's nothing to install, nothing to maintain. So we've intentionally made our products simple to implement.
Okay. And then when it comes to a business who maybe hasn't done this, or in general, what kind of education do you have to give your customers to making this switch?
The absolute key to getting a customer to pay with an online system, whether it's anything like this or a restaurant who's wanting to implement online ordering, or you're a boutique owner who wants to step into selling online, the key is awareness. I relay this message using the from the movie. Oh my gosh, I can't believe If You Build It, They Will Come. The movie where they builds the baseball field in the cornfield. I'm sorry, I can't remember that.
Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Yes, thank you so much. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm embarrassed now. Just because you build a web page to sell on or to take payments on doesn't mean people are just automatically going to show up. You have to build awareness for it. So whether that is taking a link to your hosted payment page and promoting it, on social media, saying, hey, you can now pay online. Or if you're sending a paper invoice, just making certain that in some way in the footer or the header or in a message in your invoice, you can now pay online. If you're emailing your customers regularly, you need to tell them about 6 times before about 80% of the people who are going to adopt it will adopt it. But it's a convenience thing. If they know they have it, they will use it. I've heard story after story where one of our customers told me, oh, you know what? I got a call yesterday from so-and-so. They said they forgot to pay their bill. They were sorry that it took so long. And then they remembered they had this option. And right there, the last thing they were doing before they went to bed, because it just popped into their mind, was they made their payment. So it's awareness. It pops into their mind. They adopt it, and it becomes a part of what they do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time and sharing your information with us this afternoon. I almost said this morning. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a screenshot for everybody that Pat was referencing. So I'm very excited about this project that we're putting into practice. We're doing Union County Small Business Strong, and it'll be a week-long virtual conference. We're hosting it May 11th through the 15th, and it'll include a whole bunch of different things. We're going to do business builders. Those will be kind of those live events like these that we've been doing, our virtual live events. One of them will be a panel of subject matter experts sharing kind of the next steps to successfully reopen. I can announce that one of the panelists is going to be Fred Edwards from Gulston, speaking about kind of what considerations you need to make when planning your reopen plan. He's got lots of experience with all kinds of processes and planning, so he's going to do an excellent job there. We'll also have Tricia Ridnour from the Employers Association sharing the HR considerations, kind of especially with bringing employees back and sick leave and all that, that's still kind of you're gonna have to deal with once we reopen. And then we've got some more panelists that we're working on for that. We're also going to have, very excited about this, Phil Jones, who's president of Darnell North America. He's worked for Coca-Cola, Heinz in the UK. He's going to be sharing, and now obviously Darnell, he's going to be sharing about change management in the life cycle of a business. Pat and I have heard him speak on this to our CEO breakfast, our Young Professionals Executive Breakfast Series. And he's got some really good insight and information that he's going to share. We'll also be debuting videos every day, multiple videos of interviews with some small business owners who really were able to pivot, not, you know, they pivoted, they didn't panic during the transition. And hopefully that'll be some informational and inspirational information for you all. And then we'll also have tools to rebuild, just some tools to help you kind of get back and prepare to grow your business again. You can find all of this information on our website. We do have the registration live now for the business builder with builders with Phil Jones. The panel registration isn't open yet. It'll be open by tomorrow. You can find it all on our website. I have a shortened URL here. You can also access the page through our COVID Business Impact Information Center. Or again, you can go to the tinyurl.com. You see small biz with a Z strong. So we hope you'll join us for those. We're very excited for all of that. Thank you for coming and spending time with us today, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you for organizing.
You're welcome. Thank you, Gus.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye, Rob. Thanks so much for helping us with this, Rob.
Thank you. Bye-bye.